9101. Sunbelt Rentals. Get it done, rent it now. 352-369-9101.
Ocala's information station, 1370 WOCA. Ocala!
After 9 o'clock, it is time for In the Garden with Carol Ann. Carol Ann Baldwin is not in the studio, but she is going to be live in just a moment when I turn up her microphone. I'm trying to put her picture on the video feed here since she's not in the studio. There you go. That's a nice picture of Carol Ann on the video feed. Frozen in time with a nice red sweater on. Carol Ann is, of course, your master gardener to go to on every Tuesday morning here in WOCA when you have a question about your lawn, your garden, or if you just want a kind of a conversation with Carol Ann about those things. And I don't know where she is right now, but I know she's on the phone. Good morning, Carol Ann.
Good morning, Larry. How are you this morning?
Pretty good. So where are you?
Good.
Where are you?
I'm at work.
And work is Lowe's, right? Lowe's?
Yeah. I'm sitting in the parking lot. I had something I had to make arrangements for some time for, so I said, well, I better go to work this morning, and I'll do the show remotely.
This must be a busy time for stores like that, right?
It's coming into a busy time because we've got the fall annuals that are coming in if the temperatures will finally act like fall, as well as holiday type plants getting ready to come in. I know it seems so strange to hear. I was actually on a conference call a few minutes before the show, and some of the people were saying that they've already gotten poinsettias. They're a little further south than us, but so, I mean, everybody's thinking, it's not quite Thanksgiving or not even close to Thanksgiving yet, and poinsettias and the holiday plants will be coming in right shortly.
Oh, okay. There was a news story this morning that I wanted to share with you from the University of Florida.
Okay.
And I'm not trying to throw you off guard, but I do that to you all the time anyway. But anyway, so a scientist at the University of Florida, I'm going to read now, is being recognized for his new method of preventing citrus greening. His name is Richard Mankin. He's a scientist at the University of Florida with the USDA. His work has been focused on how different diseases are caused by insects and how they can be prevented.
Right.
So when he heard about the citrus greening and found out that it was an insect, an Asian psyllid, right?
Right.
Am I saying that right? Okay, I'm trying to shorten it a little bit here. Anyway, he figured out a way to communicate with them by recording their sound and or vibrations. I don't know what they mean by and or vibrations, but anyway, so they recorded the sound of the female trying to get the male to come on over and have a good time. Okay.
Right. So it's a little hormonal baiting there.
Yeah. So they reproduce the sound, and they get some sticky tape, like I guess like flypaper. I'm going to try to paraphrase it in my own words.
Right.
And they never make it, and so therefore there's no babies and no more citrus greening.
Well, no more of those psyllids if it can work in a large scale.
Yeah,
that's a great method of trying. I know we've talked about some other avenues that they've tried to take. Some with steam, some with hyperfertilization,
right,
and things like that, and quick removal of infected trees. Though sometimes they don't show symptoms for years, but that's an interesting we'll have little things making little tiny sounds that we can't hear behind sticky traps.
Right. Right.
In order to capture the insect pest, the citrus psyllid, to keep the citrus psyllid from infecting the citrus trees.
Yeah. Now just there's a second part to this story has to do with money, because apparently it's not cheap to build whatever these devices are that can reproduce the sound of these little tiny bugs.
I'm sure it's not.
And so Senator Bill Nelson from the state of Florida visited the lab up in Gainesville, and has expressed interest. And so now they're optimistic up there that if we have an elected official, especially a senator, showing interest, that maybe the others will get on board. There'll be some money, and they'll be able to make some differences.
Make some difference. That'd be nice, because it's not just Florida's citrus industry that's in danger. It's not just the homeowner citrus. It's a citrus throughout this country, and Florida and California are major producers of worldwide citrus, and the citrus greening has gone all the way across the whole citrus belt. So it's something that is economically something that does need to be addressed, with not just research going on, but dollars going in to make that research come out further into applicable means, so that it can be used. Yeah.
It is interesting. I mean, the fact that they can even get the sound of a bug. I mean, can you see this bug? Is it big enough to actually see?
It's difficult to see. It's most people would not know what it was if they saw it. I have seen them, though they had to really be pointed out to be able to be seen. So it's a trained eye, but they do a lot. That's the first I've heard of sound being used, but we've all known that they have used pheromones to attract insects, to trap them in order to prevent reproduction and again spread of either disease or just the insect themselves.
Oh, okay.
So excuse me, but so to go with a sound, that was definitely an interesting way to go on that.
And for those who want to call Carol-Ann, the number is 622-9622. And Carol-Ann, since I can't give you hand signals, I'll just have to kind of bump in there with my voice every now and then. So let's do one of them right now. Here's a bump.
All right.
Good morning. Thank you for calling. You're on there with Carol-Ann.
Good morning. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good morning.
I'm 62, and I've been eating garlic all my life, and I'm trying to grow it.
Okay.
I went to an organic store and got a head of garlic, and I have five cloves sprouted already, 2 in water, and 3 in soil, and they're about 7-8 inches long. I want to know what to do with them to make them proliferate.
Okay, what you're going to need to do is put them in the ground. This is the time of year. It's actually it's a little bit late. Normally, garlic is a little touchy to grow for us, only because our humidity and things like that can be a problem. If you can control any of the moisture, that's gonna help. So you could put them into a large container, giving them each enough space to think about the size of what that bulb of garlic will grow to be. So probably spaced about 4 inches apart in all directions.
How about a raised bed garden?
Okay, that's great. We'll space them about 4 inches. I would probably get them a good amount of good organic nitrogen going in there to begin with, to really get them kicked off and started. And but when you plant them, you basically want to put the little clove of garlic in the ground, but only up to about the top of it. You don't want to bury it way deep. You just want that just under the surface of the soil.
Okay.
And so that all the green part will be up.
I can put them down further, though.
Yeah. And
how
just
do they grow? Are the roots shallow? Do they spread and then the other heads grow?
They're gonna spread out. You're gonna need at least I would say a depth of a good 6 to 8 inches in depth of your soil, only because you think about each bulb of garlic is about 2 inches in depth in its own right. So you're going to need a nice loose soil, at least about 6 inches deep.
Very good.
But but your roots, and just keep it. Don't let it stay soggy, because they don't like growing onions. You want them to kind of grow quickly, and it does take probably I want to say like about 100 to 120 days. So you're looking at an extended growing season.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
That is fantastic. Do you have time for another question, or you have other people?
You can go.
If you got another question, if I have to, because I know we'll have a commercial break coming up, but I can...
okay. I have cactus that, when you cut them sideways, they look like a star. They grow these beautiful white flowers with yellow inside, pastels.
Okay.
And I had 3 years ago. I cut two 2-foot sections off, put them in my yard, and now they're like 12 feet high.
Wow!
Those big, giant, disgusting cockroaches like to hang out on them. What do they eat, and what do they do?
The cockroaches and stuff like that actually just eat and feed on decaying organic material. They're probably finding little bits of plant material stuck on the cactus that they'll feed on. They could be sunning themselves. They could even be getting a little bit of moisture from them.
Yeah. One thing I learned: do not spray WD-40 on them. It killed a section of some of the cactus.
Right, WD-40 you don't want to spray on your plants because it has petroleum distillates in there.
Incredibly, but it didn't kill it. It didn't kill them. It just it hurt a little bit, the little side of it. Right.
Yeah, just use bug spray on the bugs and plants, and WD-40 on the squeaky hinge.
Okay. Thank you very much.
All right.
Well,
thank you.
Great. I really appreciate the information. You have a nice day.
Thank you for the call.
You too. Thank you.
All right, we'll take a little break and be right back. If you want to call Carol Ann, you've got a whole 45 minutes to do that. The show is a full-hour show each Tuesday, and Carol Ann, not in the studio, but she is live somewhere out there in Lady Lake, right? Is that where you are, Lady Lake?
That's it.
Lady Lake.
Yeah.
At a Lowe's, somewhere in a parking lot, talking to her, right? All right,
That's right.
The phone number is 622-9622. We'll take that break right now and be right back.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. For today, times of clouds and sun with a shower or thunderstorm in spots, the high 82 to 86. For tonight, partly cloudy with lows ranging from the upper 50s in a few inland spots to the upper 60s along the coast. Partly sunny tomorrow, high 81 to 85. Thursday, mostly sunny and warm, the high 87. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
We're saving thousands with Robert Palmer.
So rule number one is always shop around. Always shop around. If you're trying to get a mortgage, if you're trying to get the best credit card, if you're looking at student loans, cell phone bills, you name it, rule number one is always shop around. Always shop around.
That's rule number one, just one more vital part of fighting back to stop being a financial zombie. Yes, you can take the mystery out of the complicated world of finances. Take charge when it comes to your money. Listen in on The Source, 96.3 FM and 1370 AM, Saturdays at 12:05.
Hey, Matt, I know Sunrise Automotive does auto stuff, but I need some tires for my truck. Can you recommend someone?
Yes, I can. We do that.
No, I mean, I need them installed and balanced and all that.
Yep, we do that.
Well, my son needed his windows tinted.
Yep, we do that.
I need my seat replaced.
Yep, we do that too.
I need a new roof line, a new spoiler, and a new
trunk. We can even do that too.
Okay, I get it. I suppose you can also do a radio show too, huh?
Well, as a matter of fact, join me every Monday at 10 for auto repair with personal care here on The Source.
Of course you do.
Robin, let's try a little plant trivia. Name this nursery. It's a not-for-profit, and it teaches growing and caring for plants to their students.
Oh, that's easy. Kenny's Place.
Or how about this one? It's a nursery conveniently located between Ocala and Bellevue.
Again, it's Kenny's Place.
Or how about this one? A nursery with a wide variety of just what you need or want at the most reasonable prices.
Kenny's Place, of course.
Kenny's Place at 7677 Southeast 41st Court. Give them a call at 867-1213. It's a caring place for people and plants. It's Kenny's Place.
Gene Powell Pasture Mowing, 352-629-2440. In addition to our pasture mowing service, we also offer fence row spraying. Now is the perfect time to get ahead on weed control for an overall aesthetic appearance. Gene Powell Pasture Mowing, 352-629-2440 or online at powellgene@yahoo.com. We are licensed and insured. Gene Powell Pasture Mowing, 352-629-2440.
www.gene WOCA,
Visit the WOCA website at www.woca.com.
The most trusted name in news, Fox News, every half hour, only on 96.3 FM, 1370 AM, The Source. We are The Source, WOCA, news, talk, sports, and more.
All right, 20 minutes after 9 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. Carol Ann Baldwin is on the phone, and Joe Martone is in the studio. So you guys were just talking about the traveling Vietnam Wall. You might as well say that on the air, too. Where is it again?
Right, it's located at the athletic fields between 441 and 466 off of Rolling Acres Road in the north part of the Villages. It's easier if you were coming from Ocala to come straight south on 441, and at the intersection with the Walgreens and the Home Depot, you're going to make a right-hand turn, turning back to the west, and before you get to 466, you'll see the wall from the road. But it's there in the athletic field. Excuse me, I got a frog today. It'll be set up today, tomorrow, and Thursday. It's supposed to be open 24 hours to be able to come view the wall at any time. I think their opening ceremonies were this morning. I want to say like 10 o'clock, but I'm not positive on that. But they'll have some other vendors that'll be present as well. The big VA, for VA assistance. Anybody has questions of the VA, the DAV. Looked like one of the helicopter associations was there. Some other vendors were not set up yet, but yesterday by the time we got the wall finished.
Just before you went on the air, I asked you what were the hours, and you said the wall obviously is going to be there 24 hours a day, but it's not open to the public 24 hours a day, is it?
The wall is open to visitors who wish to see the wall 24 hours a day.
Oh, wow.
That's one of the stipulations on bringing the wall, is that it's supposed to have access 24 hours. It's
so
to be lighted.
The ball field will be lit and everything then, I presume, then. All right.
Yeah.
Outstanding.
Yes, that's the way it's supposed to be. Of course, the vendors and things like that won't be there 24 hours.
Only the smart ones. Only the smart ones want to make extra money.
It's an amazing thing, isn't it, that wall? Yeah.
It is.
Anyway, I'm sorry to interrupt your show for that there, but I wanted to...
No, it's an important announcement.
It is an important announcement, and my pleasure.
All righty, now you go talk about flowers.
We sure will.
I think the only time I've ever seen Carol Ann in leather was at the traveling wall. That's where I've seen Carol Ann.
And it sure wasn't warm enough or cold enough yesterday for it.
Leather is warm? I didn't know that. So I've never worn.
Leather's leather's quite warm. Nice leather coat will keep you warm. But to get back to plants. And we were talking about citrus. Last week we had a call and somebody was talking and questioning of why so much of their citrus was dropping. And I looked some things up, and aside from if the tree and everything else looked wonderful, I think what his biggest problem was just our weather. We've had a warm, wet, early fall, and I think all the fruit drop it occurs just because of the stresses to the trees, and not much you can do about it. They say, in what I was reading, it can be upwards of 25% of that fruit will drop off before it's fully mature. So if he's listening with his citrus, if he wants to talk a little further, we can try to get into that. But the citrus, the splitting of the skins on some of them, again, is attributed to excessive rain, sometimes excessive fertilizations. Actually, that happens, several weeks or a month even earlier, and then it just the skins burst, and the fruit drop come this time of year again are just moreover of climate, of things we have no control over. It's all weather related.
And do all citrus have the same rules? Lemons and limes and oranges and grapefruits and whatever else is out there?
Pretty much all citrus is going to act similarly. Some are more resistant to cracking and splitting based upon the thickness of the skin of the specific fruit, or even the size of them when these weather issues happen. Because like lemon and limes Many times we call them ever blooming, or where they will actually bloom multiple times throughout the year, and they'll set fruit throughout the year too. So you may only have a few at a size that might get damaged because of sudden excessive rains after maybe a few weeks of a dry period, and heavy rains you get, and they take up all that water, and then the skins burst. Tomatoes will do the same thing. Some other fruits will do that as well. But the question originally was on his citrus. So much of it's dropping off, and here it's beginning to color up and to come into the ripening, and they're falling on the ground, and it's a little disturbing. But it's nothing really can do about it. It's just a natural recurrence, and upwards, they were saying upwards to about 25% can drop during a season.
It might be too little. I know you mentioned the poinsettia earlier, but it might be too early to ask this specific question. But I know that in some churches, the people in the church will ask the congregation to buy and bring in one poinsettia, and then they fill the whole altar area, whatever they call it, in the front of the church.
Right.
With them, is it like, would it be too early to buy them right now? Like, if let's say they started to do this after Thanksgiving, is it too early to buy them and hold on to them, or will they still be okay?
They should be okay, and I usually recommend to people who are looking to buy poinsettias, they're maybe going to give them as gifts or things like that, that you at home can take better care of them than we can in the stores.
Really?
Because of the quantity. You at home will have maybe even upwards to 6 of them if you're giving them gifts or more, but you can care for them better than I can care for 1,500 of them.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, when you think about it. So if you're thinking that, because we do have churches that come in, I know they do it at our store, where they will actually pre-order so that we will hold them for them, but they have a specific pickup date that they must come get them by.
Oh, okay.
But they make arrangements so that when they come in, we don't have to try to care for them, because it is difficult to keep them properly watered when we're dealing with many, many more than a dozen, or even some of the churches get upwards to sometimes 60 or 80 or 100 of them for their churches, because the congregation purchases them from the church purchases them from us, et cetera, et cetera. But they can care for them a lot easier when you're talking a much smaller quantity than what we can with our 1,500 to 2,500 plants we'll have in the store at any given time during that season.
And the Veterans Day event tomorrow, we've talked about this before. Are there any red, white, and blue plants or combinations?
You know what? I didn't during Memorial Day and the 4th of July. We do get a lot of red, white, and blue setups for plants, and I have not gotten them here for Veterans Day. I don't remember if I had them last year. But it's usually red, white, and purple when you're looking at annuals. So if you find the red and white petunias and the purple petunias, you could do a red, white, and purple. You could go with a blue. They call it blue salvia, or it's actually a purple with some other reds or whites, either petunias or pentas and things like that you can also find in reds and whites. But it's hard to get a blue in a smaller plant. This time of year, the blue days we're not getting any longer. Something like a blue plumbago is just a very large plant. Once it begins to grow, it's a good couple feet tall by the same size, about a 3 foot by 3 foot plant. So not something you're going to put in a small pot. But if you're looking for some red, white, and blue, the petunias would be something to look for, or the penta and the salvias and things like that.
Carolyn, we need to take a little break. Maybe you can hear the music. So we have another half hour for the listeners who would like to call in and be on the show, whether to ask a question of Carolyn or to simply say hi well, hey, the advice you gave me 3 weeks ago is working out nicely. The number to call is 622-9622. We've got a full half hour left. We've got about a 2-minute break. We'll be back in those 2 minutes. 622-WOCA.
Fox News Radio. I'm William Wu. The Justice Department reviewing options after a setback for the president's plans to protect some 5 million people living here illegally from deportation.
Yesterday, in a 2-to-1 decision, a federal appeals court in New Orleans upheld a federal judge's injunction blocking those executive actions. Well, Texas Governor Republican Greg Abbott is praising the ruling, saying, quote, the president's job is to enforce the immigration laws, not rewrite them. President Obama should abandon his lawless executive amnesty program and start enforcing the law today.
Fox's Kristen Fisher, the White House, out with a statement saying we strongly disagree with the Fifth Circuit's decision. In New York City, a walkout by minimum wage workers.
Maybe I wouldn't have to work 2 jobs, and maybe I wouldn't have to work 7 days a week.
She's a healthcare worker. Protesters are claiming the minimum wage of $7.25 does not cover basic living expenses. Fox News, we report, you decide.
As a Ford employee, I get to give my friends a special deal.
Announcing Ford Friends and Neighbors pricing. It's an inside deal, now for everyone.
Just log on to Ford.com, and the low price you see there, that's the low price you'll pay.
On cars, trucks, SUVs, every nameplate.
Like the super stylish Ford Fusion, the built Ford Tough F-150.
And our awesome lineup of SUVs that make it easier for you to be unstoppable.
With Ford Friends and Neighbors pricing, you don't have to negotiate. It's hassle-free.
So now when people ask me if I can get them a great deal because I work for Ford, with Friends and Neighbors pricing, they don't have to ask anymore.
That's because now for a limited time, you can get in on Friends and Neighbors pricing at your participating Ford dealer.
This really doesn't happen every day.
Ford Friends and Neighbors pricing.
It's an inside deal, now for everyone. Available at participating dealers only. Take new retail delivery from dealer stock by 1/4/16. See dealer for complete details.
If you're anything like I was, the thought of getting older was the last thing on your mind. But here we are. For me, it started slowly. The lack of energy, never being in the mood, and when I was, I could never perform at my best. I tried the pills and other treatments with minimal results, and all but given up on my sex life. Then I found the doctors at New Male Medical Center. Wow, they made a new male out of me. Feel like I'm 25 again. I have renewed vigor, so much more energy, and no longer worry about my performance. New Male treated me like my situation was one of a kind, with a custom treatment plan that really works. I feel great. They can create one for you too. It does not matter if you suffer from low testosterone, erectile dysfunction, or just want to last longer. New Male will help you.
Call New Male Medical Center today at 352-404-4779. 352-404-4779. That's 352-404-4779. It will change your life. 352-404-4779.
Hey, Ocala, this week we celebrate Veterans Day, and Bob Wine Amelia Gardens proudly salutes all the veterans with a big 10% discount. So get on over to Bob Wines and grab up your share of the savings on garden bargains like these. Gorgeous drift roses, number 2 size, regularly $12.99, but you get them for $10 each when you buy 3 or more. A fabulous collection of budded and blooming camellias, some of Bob Wine's signature specimens, and there are heirloom varieties marked down from $19.99 to just $14.99. And don't forget azaleas, dwarf, ever-blooming, and other varieties. You get 6 of these for just $29.99. Big Tree BOGO too. Buy one, get one for half price. Don't forget, 10% off for veterans this week at Bob Wine's Camellia Gardens, Southeast 38th Street, daily till 4, Saturdays till 2. This is a nursery like no other.
Hi, Danny Werfel here. Get moving with Florida Credit Union's fast and easy loan approval process.
Let Florida Credit Union start up a new car loan for you today. No more waiting, hassles, or stop signs. You can even apply online. With a strong financial team behind you, you can enjoy great rates and fast approvals.
It's all about personalized service and a streamlined process.
Florida Credit Union, connecting your money to your life.
Immerse yourself in a creative blend of art, music, and culture at the 34th Annual Downtown Festival and Art Show, November 14th and 15th in downtown Gainesville. Explore a stunning collection of artwork by 240 artists and marvel at world-class paintings, vivid photography, unique sculpture, dazzling jewelry, and so much more. Enjoy continuous entertainment on 4 stages all weekend, including a downtown blues concert on Friday night. Plus, bring the kids for free art activities at the Children's Imagination Station. For more information, call 352-334-ARTS.
25 minutes before 10 o'clock, Caroline Baldwin is on the phone and on the air to answer your questions about your lawns, your gardens, your plants, and anything associated with things that grow in the garden. And Caroline is a master gardener. And real quickly, Caroline, I wanted to squeeze in an announcement. There was an announcement from the Extension Office. What do you call it? Extension Service? Extension Service.
Yeah.
Let's see. It says here, the 2015 Small Ruminant Production Conference is happening on November 20th from 9 till 5, and you have to register by the 15th. It's a one-day program about raising sheep and goats. There you go.
There you go.
I don't know if you do that or not. Do you raise
Not
animals?
me.
No animals.
No, we used to have a pet goat until I don't know. There were 3 large dogs that roamed the neighborhood and jumped the fence and killed her. So after that, we said no, never mind.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was quite disheartening. So
I bet.
But,
Wow, that's sad.
yeah.
Were you raising the goat as a pet?
It was, yeah. She was kind of a pet, and she was there to eat the poison ivy and the rest of the stuff out of the, and try to keep the wood mowed down.
I thought little lambs eat ivy.
They do. Kit'll eat ivy too. Wouldn't you?
Yeah, I might. It's funny.
Bet you didn't know I knew that.
No, I figured you did. Actually, I would think that you would know that one.
But
it's a big hit in the nursing homes, by the way.
Right. Oh, I'm sure it is.
Yeah.
Last week we also had somebody call in asking about bittersweet, which would, one of those kind of names you're going, how does that, it's almost an oxymoron. But it's a plant. It's the bittersweet. Then I had somebody else send me a picture of one that was growing in Connecticut. And what I've looked up on it is that it would really be kind of iffy to grow in our area. The USDA zones come down to about zone 8. Which, Ocala's 8B, 9A, depending on where you're at. And some of them, it looks like that they have, in other areas, it can become a noxious weed, depending on the variety of it. And so I think in this area, though, they're a pretty... it makes a pretty berry to bring in and use as flower arrangements and things like that. It sounds like something you really wouldn't necessarily want to try to grow around here. That it may not thrive. It may not do its best here because we would be on the way farthest south area that it would possibly do well. It probably does better up in Georgia, but those are some areas can actually the Oriental one. So it can turn a very attractive. The foliage can be very attractive yellow in the fall, but it's an aggressive grower that has escaped gardens and has become a noxious weed in that blankets woods. And if it gets going up trees, it can girdle trees and things like that. So I wouldn't recommend it for one to if you were going to spend any money on it, because one, it may not survive, and two, if it got away from you, you wouldn't be happy with that. So the bittersweet it's bittersweet. Don't go for it.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, that was it.
The phone number, if you want to call in and speak to Caroline, is 622-9622. If you're out of the area, I was just looking at your video feed. Looks like you have some people looking online. So if you're not in the area code is 352-622-WOCA. Ask about your lawns, your gardens, and everything associated. Tools about gardening is something that usually comes up around the gift-giving time.
It does. Gifts, garden tools, garden books, things like that all make wonderful gifts for people, and getting them here early before it gets too close to Christmas, because a lot of times these seasonal shops and things like that may not have as great of a selection as when the true winter months come in, as they will beforehand, or obviously when spring comes. So it might be the kind of thing of looking now, if you were looking to get somebody a gift of gardening tools or pruners and things like that, or you may be buying them through mail order, where there you would know you'd be able to receive them in time.
Right.
And speaking of a different type of mail order, I just got my for those of us in gardening, I got my Dixondale Onion Farms catalog today. It's a catalog on all onions.
Onions, really? And
Onions.
do you actually order seeds from them? And
No, actually order the plants from them.
the plants?
The plants themselves, the ones that will grow well in our area, they have begun, they're the harvest from the farm in order to ship the plants to us has already begun, and we do the short day onions, which they carry. Let's see, what do we got? 1, 2, 3, there's 4. We don't have a whole lot of different varieties. 7 different varieties of onion that will, do well here. We grow what they call a short day onion. It's mostly because of it's the day length, and when planted the proper time, they say they'll mature in about 110 days. If you get further north, it'll be about 75 days. Plant them early, the bigger the onion will grow. It's just this is coming into our drier time, and onions don't like to get real wet. They have a tendency to rot if it's too wet outside. So that's why the shorter day onions really do better for us, as our humidity is generally lower, the temperatures are cooler, the rain is less, and that's just all things that the onion crop likes. They're cold hardy to our winter, so generally not much of any damage can occur or does occur if we get cold. They can get a powdery mildew issue, but you just have to watch, and again, that's weather related, so make sure you give them plenty of air circulation and treat as you see a problem on those. But yeah, the onion, it's that time to plant onions, or get your onions ordered and get them in the ground, and they do well for us, and we can grow those wonderful sweet Vidalia type onions that are just delicious.
This is the time of the year when Florida really separates itself from pretty much the rest of the country temperature-wise, because even a month ago, temperatures here were not that different as they were, let's say, in Philadelphia. But I think it was yesterday, we were speaking to a guest who was in Philadelphia, and her temperature was 46, and ours was like 86. So this is the time where it starts to separate the cold states from the rest of from Florida from the rest of the cold states. Yeah.
From the rest of it, exactly. That the way our cold fronts come through, or the cold fronts come through the United States, usually we have some type of pressure system that holds them above the peninsula of Florida. And so they end up into Georgia. I mean, maybe some of the panhandle in the northernmost part of Florida gets some more of the cold, but much of the state continues to stay the wonderful temperatures we love. That's, in the wintertime in the low to mid 70s during the day, and maybe low 40s in the evenings. And so and it also makes us for very good growing seasons during that time of year as well.
We're almost up to the next break. Gosh, it went quick, didn't it? So we've got about 15 minutes left in the show. If you have a question for Caroline, you want to be on the show, whether it's to ask a question or just make a comment, the number is 622-9622. So before we go to the break, that's the reason I was mentioning the difference between Florida and the rest of the country is because the question based on that is, the rest of the country, your counterpart doing a radio show in Virginia, for example, might say, okay, don't, from this point on until spring, don't do this, don't do that. Are there any don't do's in Florida, or can you still do things all winter long?
Well, there actually are quite a few don't do's from right now. We don't want to fertilize our lawn, and I guess when we come, why don't we go to the break, and when we come back, we'll get into the don'ts of fall and winter.
Okay, I didn't mean for that to be too loud. Yeah, the don't do's in Florida in gardening. When we come back with Carol Ann Baldwin, and of course your questions are important. If you want to call in, don't feel bad about calling in when we're on a topic if you want to change the topic, in other words, you're welcome to do that. That's the whole idea here. We'll take a break and be right back with Carol Ann.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. For today, times of clouds and sun with a shower or thunderstorm in spots, the high 82 to 86. For tonight, partly cloudy with lows ranging from the upper 50s in a few inland spots to the upper 60s along the coast. Partly sunny tomorrow, high 81 to 85. Thursday, mostly sunny and warm, the high 83 to 87. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
Hi, I'm Seth with AA Lock, Dock, and Security. Have you ever thought about the locks or security on your house or business? Have you ever wondered why the keys to your new car cost so much? Well, at AA Lock, Dock, and Security, we can help with securing your valuables. We can even replace those expensive transponder keys. We can give you the knowledge that no one else will. Call AA Lock, Dock, and Security at 867-1965. That's 867-1965.
Ooh, ouch. Does pain have you glued to the couch? Yes, unfortunately it's true that every year we must get older, but that doesn't mean we have to deal with pain in our back, knees, or shoulder. If your muscles and joints are sore, don't worry anymore. Come get acupuncture from me and you'll be pain-free. Acupuncture starts as low as $35 at a Better You Healthcare. Call me, Dr. Erica Olstein, at 615-5566. Stop your pain from driving you insane.
Join us downtown for a truly wonderful Ocala tradition, the 32nd annual Light Up Ocala, on Saturday, November 21st from 4 to 9 p.m. The highlight of the evening will be the lighting of downtown Ocala and the 42-foot Christmas tree at 6:30. There'll be live entertainment, crafts, food, children's activities, and of course, a visit by Santa. And you can stop by the WOCA booth and register for your chance to win a brand new big screen LED TV. So come, be a part of the 32nd annual Light Up Ocala.
One of the most common questions those nearing retirement are asking: will I outlive my money? Retirement questions like these and many more will be answered every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. on Planning for a Better and Safer Retirement with hosts Francois and Julian Pozenet. Francois and Julian will help you put your retirement puzzle together. Catch Planning for a Better and Safer Retirement Saturdays at 9 a.m. on Ocala's News Talk, The Source 96.3 FM and 1370 AM.
There's a car accident in this country every 5 seconds. That's why Allstate thinks it's time for an entirely different kind of car insurance, with features like accident forgiveness and a safe driving bonus. It's called Your Choice Auto, and it's only from Allstate. Are you in good hands?
You deserve better. Sign up for Your Choice Auto from Allstate. Call the McDonald Agency today at 622-2333.
Features are optional and subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Insurance, Northbrook, Illinois.
All right, this hour has gone really fast. Carol Ann Baldwin is on the phone and on the air, and we've got 12 minutes left in the show. If you'd like to speak to Carol Ann about your garden, your lawn, the mulch, your gardening tools, anything of the sort, the number is 622-WOCA.
Yeah, we said before we went to the break about what are some of the don'ts, because like you say, some of the northern states gardening show for them at this time of year might be just how to take care of your plants inside and what you might do for next year. For us, it's what can you and can't you do right now. Right now we're with less frequent rains and less rain, and the temperatures should be cooling. Day length is shorter. We are coming into the fall and winter, so we're not fertilizing right now in the lawn or the landscape. You're not looking to force any new growth because you don't want new growth should the temperatures decide to drop. When new growth comes on, even though the plant itself or the lawn is cold hardy, that new growth is not. It is still susceptible to cold damage, and if it is a plant that might be a little more susceptible, a little more tropical, if you start forcing growth in the wintertime, you may actually kill it back further than what would naturally just occur with a little bit of cold damage. So leave the fertilizers on the shelf until next spring. I usually like to run the rule of thumb. I used to go February, June, and September, and somebody else says, it's a little easier to remember if you go 3, 6, 9 and go March, June, and September. So that's one I picked up on and figured that's a little easier to remember. So if you're at the end of February, 1st of March, doing your fertilizations again. But right now, don't scalp your lawn. If you feel like you want to go out there with the mower because the leaves are dropping down, keep that mower blade up, because you don't want to get down there and cut grass that's not growing. You don't want a whole pile of leaves to sit across your grass, but some of the smaller leaves aren't going to hurt the lawn. They'll actually drop and nourish the lawn. If you want them cleaned up and you do run, say, the bagger, and that chops them up pretty good, put them back around your trees and shrubs. Use them as a mulch around those, and you're going to be nourishing the plants as well. You figure whatever grew from the ground up into the top of that tree and fell back down as part of that tree, it can feed that tree. So we try don't rake them all up and haul them to the curb. Clean them up and put them to good use, whether in your compost pile or chop them up and put them back around the plant.
Is that true for pine trees too?
Pine trees as well. Pine needles are good mulch. Actually, at our store, we sell bales of pine needles to use as mulch. The villages use a lot of them, and the residents had requested that they like the look of them also, and so we actually sell pine straw, the pine needles here. But any of those things, I know people don't like. You don't want to leave a whole mat of it on the grass, but a few leaves on the grass actually does, when our temperatures begin to drop, to actually protect that grass the same way any other covering would do. You could, if you want to clean up those leaves and put your winter rye down, it's not too late to do that. And with that, you don't really need to fertilize that either. You're going to mow that throughout its season here this winter, and all of that you cut off drops back in the ground, and it's going to feed that, and it will be feeding your lawn for spring. So just leave the fertilizers in the garage or on the shelf at the stores. Clean out your spreader, hose it down, clean it up real nice. This is a good time to clean up some of your tools and things. Now, if you have any dead wood in trees or shrubs and things, you can cut that out at any time during the year. To remove any dead branches, dead limbs and things. But any real shaping or anything like that, I would hold off until the plants have a chance to go to a true dormant period, which I'm saying into about February or March, before they start to bud back out.
Yeah, Matt Gibbs, who does the show here on Mondays, he's our mechanic. He was saying that he bought a oh my gosh, a chainsaw, an electric chainsaw. It works on battery, not a wire.
Okay, a rechargeable, yeah.
And he's always been very skeptical, because I guess in the past, rechargeable batteries for garden tools, especially a chainsaw that requires a lot of power, they were not dependable. They wouldn't last long. They didn't have much strength. But he said, wow, the newer ones really passed the test. So he's got one he's really happy with. He got some limbs off of the upper parts of his tree that he could reach with the extended stick or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's great. That's true with a lot of the cordless technology. Has come a long way from what it used to be, where you would, if you didn't drain the battery completely down when you recharged it, it would have a memory, and so it would only hold the charge to as far as what you originally took that battery down to. And now with like the lithium ion and some of the new battery technologies, they're a strong battery, they hold a good charge, and they're lighter weight than what they used to be. I like electric equipment. It's light, it's easy to manage. I mean, the cord you must be careful with if you're actually doing corded ones, like a hedge trimmer or a corded chainsaw. The cordless ones have a little weight to it because of having that battery in there, but not as heavy as, say, a gasoline-powered chainsaw would be. So something someone either smaller could handle, or you don't want that great big heavy chainsaw, you can go down to something smaller for some of those small, just cleanup jobs in the landscape. You're not out there cutting firewood or felling trees. You're good for those kind of projects with those items.
Yeah. Well, that was the question I asked about the weight, because if you have a heavy chainsaw on the end of a stick, it almost seems like it would be so hard to actually control, but he said it was not. So it's lightweight, it's strong, it lasted a long time. I thought, wow. So, and I mean, I've got this problem in my backyard. It's not my tree, but it's my neighbor's tree, and I've got one of those with the rope. You know,
the pole, the pole saw, right?
Yeah,
right.
That's a lot of work with that thing.
Well, with those, you need to make sure, and as with any saw, you want to make sure you keep them sharpened. And you may need to sharpen it depending on how much use they're getting, between each little project of having your file handy and just cleaning up that edge a little bit so that you've got a good sharp surface that you're working with.
Oh, you mean on the snipper part?
A sharp tool cuts better than a dull one.
But the snipper part's fine. It's with the little branches, but the saw part, you can't. You can't sharpen the saw part, can you?
Yes.
You can?
Yes, you could be able to sharpen that saw part. Yeah.
But even when it was brand new, I mean, you're standing there and you're pulling it up and down. You're trying to get
it's a little awkward.
Yeah.
It's a little awkward, and that's where those powered, the powerhead, the electric pole chainsaws, or however that's worded, have, I think, become very popular because of that. Is that you can reach up there and it's going to cut it more quickly. And if you're cutting from overhead, do be careful you're not dropping anything on your head.
Oh yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. It's we don't use a chainsaw from a step ladder. That's another little thing. Just there's certain things where you don't want to do just for your own safety.
Another don't do, right?
Yeah, don't do it. I mean, we use loppers a lot of times from a step stool or step ladder, and even then you need to be careful that you're not leaning on the wrong end. And if you have a larger branch, you're going to want to cut. Say something with that, say, over 4 feet long, or that's a couple inches around, you're going to want to cut part of that off to take some of the weight off, that when you're cutting it, it doesn't tear should it break and tear the bark onto the limb side of the branch.
So, personal question, anything you and your husband are doing for Veterans Day?
I believe he'll be heading to Veterans Park. I have to work for Veterans Day, but I'm probably going to go over and go visit the wall at least at some point.
And remind everybody where the Traveling Vietnam Wall is.
The Traveling Vietnam Vet Wall, and it does have some other, and there are other setups, I believe, that are there for today. It's here today, tomorrow, and Thursday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, at the ballparks, the ball fields, athletic fields, I guess I should say, on Rolling Acres Road, Rolling Acres Road is between 441 and 466 down here in the Villages.
Okay.
So if you come south on 441, when you get to the intersection, there's a Walgreens and a Home Depot and several other things. You're going to turn to the right. You're going to turn west, and you will go, before you get to the next traffic light, which is 466, you will see the athletic fields on your right-hand side, and you'll see the wall there.
And you helped set it up, right?
Yes, I did.
So after you set it up, I've been to the actual wall in D.C., and I've been to the traveling wall twice. And the traveling wall that I've visited has only been there, of course, a day or two when I got to see it. And there were already flowers at the base. Have people already dropped off little things?
When I was there, no.
No, not yet.
They probably have by now. Yeah.
Yeah, it's well, thank you again. Thank your husband for his service, and thank you for what you do with the show here and everything, Carol Ann, and what you do as a motorcycle chick, by the way.
Thank you. Well, thank you, Larry.
Is your song. Thank you, Carol Ann. Be careful out there, and we'll see you next week.
All right. See you next week. Bye-bye now.
All right. We will take a little break. Be right back.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
News Radio, I'm Lillian Wu. In the fight over immigration, the White House